When a lion or another big cat meets a huge snake on a narrow road, it turns into a duel of the century. The python relies on a powerful throw and strangulation. The cat, on the contrary, attacks with its paws and constantly maneuvers. Now you will find out whose tactics turned out to be more effective. Even if you support reptiles more in the confrontation between cats and snakes, you involuntarily start to worry when you see the cautious steps of this leopard towards a huge python. This is the rare case when a snake has stretched out on the ground so that we can estimate its size fairly accurately. According to the most conservative estimates, its length is about 14 to 15 feet, about 4 meters. I just want to shout out to the leopard, "Don't you see how big she is? Take it! Save yourself, run!" It seems that the leopard behaves so carelessly because of inexperience, otherwise he would have tried to circumvent this coast for several miles. How amazing it is when you see the denouement. Even being inferior to the enemy in size, the leopard overcomes the huge python, and the spotted cat does it without necessary movements and fuss. Perhaps if the snake has crept up to the enemy unnoticed and attacked from ambush, the leopard would have turned into a hearty lunch. But the predatory beast had the opportunity to prepare. The smart cat appreciated the weaknesses and strengths of the enemy and understood exactly how to attack such a snake. The move is quite obvious. The leopard attacks the snake's tail, but not just bites or hits, but stretches the opponent. The danger of throwing any legless reptile lies in their phenomenal ability to twist their body to then shoot them forward. This is how venomous snakes attack, which try to inject poison. And in the same way, pythons attacked, which after the first bite proceed to strangulation. But if the snake is stretched out, it will not be physically able to strain its steel muscles for such a throw. A simple but so clever move by a leopard that you cannot help but wonder, did these cats study animal anatomy in college? In any case, such a smart approach is worthy of your like, don't you agree? The battle between a python and a leopard is probably the most intense confrontation between a large cat and a snake that you have ever seen. The fact is that in this case, none of the opponents has a clear advantage. The leopard is the smallest of the panthers and is significantly inferior to the huge python in strength. But at the same time, the spotted cat remains a formidable opponent for its size and can surprise with agility, mobility, and reaction speed. And the python, in turn, although devoid of strong scales, still with such dimensions has a very strong skin and endurance, which gives him the opportunity to squeeze a very steep thrashing. The heart starts beating faster when you see that the python was still able to grab the leopard with its jaws. And now, the snake began to encircle the victim with rings. A little more, and the cat will not have a single chance to retreat. The terrible embrace tightens more and more. The count goes on for seconds. But at the last moment, the leopard manages to slip out of the grasp of his enemy. You will be shocked, but the cat is not trying to escape. He goes on a counterattack and attacks the enemy again. The leopard is one of the few animals that can afford to fight a python in the stalls and count on some kind of success. Both predators use their typical battle tactics at 100%. The python strangles his victim, tries to break its ribs and deprive it of strength. The leopard slips out of the enemy's embrace again and again, fights with all 4 paws at the same time, dodges, and constantly maneuvers at super close range. The duel required maximum exertion of all forces and almost cost the leopard his life, but as a result, it was the cat who celebrated the victory. This time, the python was too close to victory for the spotted predator to dare such an adventure as attacking a large snake at least once more. At least in the near future. During the battle, the python relies on close combat. This is the best wrestler in the world who really uses his whole body as a weapon. The jaws are used for grabbing, but they only begin the attack. The main task of a python or a boa constrictor is to pile on the victim. If you think that this requires some kind of time reserve, then you are mistaken. These snakes have some amazing, even unnatural control of every muscle. Thanks to this, the python can entangle the prey in just a second, making one throw on its body. This is what the snake that attacked the antelope at the watering hole showed. You need to slow down the shooting so that it becomes possible to see the python's movements. Otherwise, they merge into one spot. The ungulate is incredibly agile, but here he had no chance. Of course, thanks to the speed of throwing, the snake becomes, perhaps, the most dangerous prey that the leopard claims. Every second he risks himself. A single mistake will cost him his life. If the python can cling to the leopard, it will not escape. But leopards are known for their amazing concentration. There are even legends about hunters who accidentally ambushed leopards in the forests of Asia. The cats were so focused on hunting ungulates that a person could come up from behind and gently touch the tail. Do you believe in these stories? Or do you think that they are hunters' tales? Answer in the comments. The battle of cats and snakes can be very different depending on which species are faced in the confrontation. Cats differ from each other not only in size, but also in habits, combat tactics, and character. Snakes differ from each other even more. First of all, they are divided into poisonous and non-poisonous. As it is easy to understand from the name, it is the most powerful toxin that is the main weapon of poisonous snakes. The black mamba is a fairly large reptile that can reach a length of about 9 to 10 feet, about 3 meters, which makes it the second most venomous snake in the world in body length after the king cobra. Therefore, in battle, it can not only use poisonous fangs, but also physical strength. But if you take the poison away from it, then for such a bully as a lion, it will be just a long sausage. That's just the poisonous glands of the black mamba are always ready to release a huge dose of poison. This snake is one of the most venomous on the planet. Its toxin has an extremely complex chemical structure, and this substance consists of a whole set of compounds called blockers. Some affect the nervous tissue, while others deal a crushing blow to the work of the heart muscle. It turns out that the poison of the black mamba poisons several different systems of the victim's body at once. That's exactly what happened to the poor lioness you're seeing right now. What does she feel? We have an answer, but believe me, everything is very sad there. First of all, it is a burning and severe pain in the bite area. Immediately, there is a very strong swelling. The venom of the black mamba is not only complex, but powerful. So much so that in some cases, it causes incredibly rapid tissue death at the bite site. In fact, like some kind of acid. But the main thing is the signs of poisoning of the body. This is abdominal pain, nausea, double vision. All this is against the background of terrible convulsions that break the victim's body. She's shaking and can't come to her senses. At the same time, breathing gradually worsens. There is arrhythmia, that is, the heart strays from the normal rhythm of work. Each next breath is more difficult than the previous one. It simply does not work to breathe deeply, and the victim gradually suffocates. The neurotoxin of the black mamba targets those neurons that control the work of the lungs. By disabling them, the snake's venom causes the victim to suffocate from actually shutting down the respiratory system. And all this in a matter of minutes. At the same time, the black mamba perfectly understands the effectiveness of its only but such a powerful weapon. She used to behave quite boldly. and if possible, the snake freezes or tries to crawl away. But if it feels threatened, it immediately attacks. The situation becomes quite frightening if you remember, the black mamba is the fastest snake on the planet. No, it won't catch up with the lioness, but at a short distance, it can move 3 times faster than a human step. Given the ability to blend in with the environment and move unnoticed, the snake turns into a real-life ninja. The lioness sees a quick shadow, feels a blow, and that's it. The sisters will have to go on all their next hunts without her. The most unpleasant thing about this situation is that it was difficult to avoid. Most venomous snakes try to conserve their venom. Its production is a complex and energy-consuming process for the reptile organism. But the black mamba prefers not to hold back. Although she is not looking for a fight purposefully, she immediately goes on the attack if she is ignored or taken by surprise. This gave her the reputation as one of the most aggressive, vicious, and insidious snakes. In addition, sometimes she can try to escape from enemies right between their paws. If it moves towards the enemy, it can bite as if on the move, without even stopping their movement. This is scary, since the victim may not feel the bite at all and think that everything is fine, the danger is past. And then, they feel the first symptoms of poisoning. Oddly enough, people have a very high level of resistance to poisons, much higher than that of, at first glance, stronger and larger animals. For example, horses and other ungulates. But still, the only way to save yourself from a black mamba bite is to urgently introduce an antidote. Without an antidote, there is no chance. But thanks to the high resistance, a person has at least enough time to make a life-saving injection. The body of the lioness will finish off the toxin of the black mamba in just a few minutes. Even if the camera person had a poison serum with them and went against the usual rule of non-interference of wildlife researchers, they might have still been too late. However, even if they had immediately rushed to the lioness's aid, it is unlikely that her sisters would have let them near her. Just imagine, just now a terrible huge snake bites your hunting partner, and she's already convulsing, and suddenly a man runs out of this strange 4-wheeled metal monster right in your direction. It is very unlikely that the camera persons would have had a chance to help the lioness. But would you like to do it in their place? Answer us in the comments.